Welcome back to Story Deep Dive with Dana and Rachel. This is a podcast with two friends, book coaches, and editors, and we love to talk about books, but not as readers. We love talking about them as writers and to draw inspiration from these great books, as well as lots of laughs and all of our shenanigans wrapped in. And for the month of December, we're sort of having this blast from the past moments, talking about our favorite picks. What are some of the things that we liked? What are some of the things we want to talk about moving forward, going into the new year? And today's episodes, we're going to be talking all about best plots over the 11 books that we did in 2025. And so with that said, Rachel's going to kick us off. We gave ourselves two, because we had some great books. So just two that we want to sort of talk about as far as best plots. So Rachel, what do you have for us?
Okay, listen. I originally... Okay. Listen.
Set it up.
Hear me out. I originally banned myself from picking Ninth House for either, because everybody knows that I love Ninth House, and it's one of my favorite books of all time. And it was like, Rachel, you can't pick, everybody knows that Ninth House is at the top of your list because you talk about it all the time. You're not allowed. But then when I looked at the prompt that we set, which was top two plots from the year, I was like, yeah, but if I pick something else beside, if Ninth House doesn't make the list, that seems wrong, because it's such a strongly plotted story.
Yes.
So, obviously, in that case, my first pick is going to be Ninth House. So,
mine too.
Yes! Vindication! Yes!
I knew we would have some. I don't know if I would say it was my top one, but it is one. So, yes. I totally agree with you.
Yes. It just seemed like such a shame if I was going to pick my top two books for plot for the year, for that to somehow not make the cut. I was like, this feels like an injustice. This story, Ninth House, is such a masterclass in combining a mystery with mystery to really create the narrative drive, because at its heart there's a murder mystery at work, and murder mysteries naturally have so much narrative drive, but layering that in where it is also a story of life and death stakes, and then you get this dash of horror coming from the world building and the environment, and you get something that is just pure magic. So, I think, and also Ninth House is really well paced. So if you break it out in the 4-act structure, you're really able to see she hits her notes bang on. It's a really great example of, if you're looking at something that at a mystery and how you escalate the stakes of a mystery, she does that beautifully, because it's not always easy when you're just doing a mystery to how do I escalate the stakes on a mystery without just dropping more bodies, which is a way you can escalate the stakes, but it's not the only way, and you can only do it it can't be the only way you're escalating the stakes. And so the way that she manages to do that in the story, while also building us toward a series, right? Managing both of those things at the same time, is just it's really a masterclass in a well plotted story. And even, being 500 plus pages, but being narratively so effective. So it doesn't feel like it wanders. It's very, very effective. It has fantastic drive. My first pick for top plot is going to be Ninth House, and apparently so is yours, Dana. Tell me about it. I feel deeply vindicated and just I feel like I've achieved something.
you sound like oh my gosh, that one of those characters off of a Disney movie. I can't think about the name.
Literally but any Disney villain.
Okay. Ninth House is one of my picks. Well, I would not say it as eloquently as Rachel just said it, but I feel like it is just solid all the way around. The character growth, the character depth, what we go through. I absolutely love the sort of story being overlaid over the real history and things that it almost has this feel of like speculative fiction kind of vibe that I always love that you don't hear a lot about anymore. I think it had the y'all pardon my French, the ape shit twist. Like, listen, you have no other way to say, but it's just like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
And there's so many moments in that. And then to be able to have the story where at the heart of it, like, you have this woman who's just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be a failure again.
Yeah.
She just doesn't want to be a failure again. Like, she knows that. Like, I'm not supposed to be here. You know, I lucked up and got it. You know, and now she's in the middle of something else. And so it's just like at the heart of it, like with all of these things going on, is just a young woman trying to find herself.
Yeah.
And so even though I was not expecting what I experienced, I think it's just such a great story. And like I was telling you, I think it was off the line, but like I really look forward to reading it again, because every time I read it, I get more of it.
Yeah.
The first time I was just like, oh, heck to the no.
When the scene when the story opens with digging around in a dude's guts to predict the markets, I mean, that just tells you
that one in the bathroom. Oh my gosh, the bathroom scene.
Yeah.
I was just like, listen, I was talking out loud, talking in the middle of wherever I was, looking crazy because I could not stop myself. But at the same time, it's like, I love when you read a story and you're just like, they're in their bag.
Yeah.
Like, this is something different about it. You don't have to read a whole bunch of other books to be like, there's no way that somebody else could just feel like the way that she did that story.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be so interesting to read any more in that series because of that. But yeah, so for me, definitely, I do have Ninth House on the list. It was hard for me to pick two. That's another thing that I have to say for the record. It's hard to pick two.
Yeah. I was like looking through the list and I'd like, maybe I'll pick this one and be like, but this other one, right? And it was just this constant like wrestle. One other thing I may have mentioned it, that guys, we talked about this book all the way back in January. I don't remember what I said back in January. But I want to highlight this here in case this is something that you are working on, that Ninth House I think does so well, is handling backstory. Using the backstory, because I watch writers and I watch clients struggle with integrating backstory that doesn't feel like an info dump, and that also, because sometimes, and you see this sometimes in books that you know make it all the way through publishing, where you're trying to communicate backstory and it comes and your protagonist comes across super annoying because it feels like they're kind of like fixating or like just they're griping and they're whining, and you're like, listen, I get it. Okay, you can stop with this now. You know, it's something that's really difficult to do and easy to get wrong. Ninth House does a phenomenal job of taking Alex's very difficult backstory and layering it into the narrative in such a way that it feels relevant to the present moment that we're in, while also giving no uncertain terms where she comes from. And it doesn't feel like an info dump, because really the way that Leigh Bardugo handles it is Alex is taking her past experiences, she's pulling them to the forefront of her mind in an effort to read the present situation. Oh, this situation that I'm in is like this other situation that I experienced back in LA. And it gives her the opportunity to bring those stories in with tremendous relevance, but they're super specific and very evocative. And so it's really like, because this is just sort of like a common problem, and also because in our bonus episode we talked about problem-specific picks, this is one to pick if you are really struggling with incorporating a protagonist's especially difficult backstory. Now, if you weren't there for those episodes, check your content warnings, trigger warning database, that kind of thing, if you have content sensitivities. But if you don't, this is a really good one for that particular skill.
Again, I wouldn't have said it like that, but I totally agree. I also find that I like how we were squarely in her point of view, but she really kept a lot of mystery.
Yeah.
About her as a character, so that as she's encountering the stakes and the environment, and it's challenging her and it's stretching her, that is when those moments came to the table.
Yeah.
And I liked that. I liked it because it made it so that my curiosity about her stayed present. Like, you didn't, like, there was never, like, every time she upped, like, the stakes, I was just like, wait, can the girl have a break?
Yeah.
Can she have a break? That's how I felt. I was just like, especially like when she went to the little dinner party and it still some stuff. I'm just like, listen, she's just trying to lay low and get a good grade. This is all she's trying to do. No, life is lifing. And so I feel like she just did a great job of like balancing having so many elements up in the air without it feeling like we're being inundated with a lot of information. Like, you really want to keep your eyes open and at every moment, because you didn't know what was about to happen. And I don't like stories like that. This is not relaxing. This is stressful. This is a stressful read. I'm like, no, I don't need to be intrigued. I don't want a whodunit. I don't care.
Oh man, our escapism is two very, very different varietals.
I'm like, I don't care. I don't want it. I don't want it. But I loved it. I do. It's a really great pick. It's a great pick. So the fifth, and it was our first one. So I mean, it was a great pick, and I knew it would be, but still, it's like, oh, it's hard. It's so hard to read that book.
It made your list. Dana, what's number 2 on your list?
Oh man, listen, I am going back and forth, and I feel like it's a tie. I kind of felt like the way you were with Ninth House, because I could pick my all-time favorite that was on our list, but I feel like because of our interaction in the conversation and your resistance to it, I had to say Twisted Love.
Yeah.
I had to say Twisted Love because there was just so much that I feel like that book covers a lot when it comes to romance, while having the edge of dark, while also having a really strong character growth and development for both of the protagonists. And I felt like it just does a great job of that. The things, first of all, the fact that Alex is such a popular name. I was like, well, I think almost every story feels like it had an Alex in it.
We had a lot of Alexes this season.
We did, a lot. And so I feel like it also was a great story to look at an anti-hero storyline in a romantic setting. I also felt like she did a great job of Ava, because I was about to forget her name. Ava kind of just almost having this innocence about her in the beginning that could have been obnoxious and annoying, and eventually really seeing her evolve and grow in her strength while not feeling like poor little rich girl or something. You know what I mean? Like, never getting to that point. Like, we really could feel it. And I felt like she gave both of them so much depth. And you just glued. And I mean, and every time I read it, I feel the same way. I still feel the same way. There were some scenes that I'm like, how did you forget this? I probably tried to block out this memory. That's what it was. So I absolutely love it. It's a favorite. It's an absolute favorite of mine. So yes, Twisted Love. I had another close second. But yes, Twisted Love is my second pick. And yes. Oh, do you want me to do the close second? The close second is always going to be Indigo. Yeah. Always. Yeah. Always. That is like my favorite book of all time. Yeah. Like, it's just, but it's not going far. But I will say, I think the reason why I did Twisted Love over Indigo is because I just wasn't expecting the climactic moment to go the way that it was. I don't care how many times I've read that story. It never sits right in my gut. Yeah. Never. I still feel the same way. And the fact that I've read that book so many times and I still feel that way, and I'm still talking like, you don't have to do this. Yeah. I would be an awful negotiator. I would be like, you don't have to do this. You already broke her heart. You don't have to stomp on it and kick it and throw it and see if it bounces. And then, like, this is how I felt like he was doing. And I was like, oh my gosh, whoever wrote this doesn't have a heart. And so that's, I feel like that every single time I read it.
Yeah.
And so the fact that I know it's coming and I still feel that way, hoping that it's not there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what it did.
And I think you're right. Like, Twisted Love really did, again, I talked about during the episode of, like, you know, she really did a good job of the way she organized her plots, right? Like, it's a really, really good example of how she handled those different threads and opened and closed them really effectively. So I think that is that's a solid pick, because I think her plotting work was really good. It was good plotting work.
Alrighty, so your turn. What was your second?
My second was Sin and Chocolate.
I'm so glad you liked it. I knew you'd like it.
I think from a plotting perspective, honestly, for me, plotting wise, a close second was, and the only reason I didn't pick this one was because just it's one we've talked about before. But Dead Until Dark is a really close second for me, plotting wise, because honestly, that is also a perfectly plotted story. Like, she manages the romance in the mystery just right, and they rise and fall and open and close just perfectly. But it was like, it's a crossover pick, we've talked about it before, and so I'm always trying to kind of, like, you know, push out beyond the books that we're, like, familiar with, you know, or that I'm familiar with.
Ma'am, I'm like, you gonna talk about the book you didn't pick. Girl, talk about the book you picked.
So the reason I picked Sin and Chocolate was particularly because of the way that she took the world and its impact on the plot itself. So the world building directly impacting the plot, which you won't always like, it's easy for the world to almost feel like, you know, it's tangential to the plot that happens. But she really, like, it's almost like that story could only happen in that world. Right? Like, that story is a unique product of that world. And I think that was very effective. But also, I think something that she did really well was this story was self-contained. So it had its own singular plot that opens and closes by the end, but it's also the start of a series that's going to go somewhere. And so she really started off with sort of more this contemporary romance story. Like, the plot, the series kind of kicks off with something that feels a bit like a contemporary romance that's going to blend into a larger story, which I suspect is probably going to start verging more into action. If I had to guess, I haven't read the rest of the series, so I don't know. But it looks like she has kind of this long series that follows after this book. So I think it was really, like, she did a really clever job of hooking the reader for the series by giving us something. It's a little bit lighter. You could just read it on its own, right? As almost like a standalone, but it raises these questions that the next books are going to answer. Again, I assume, I'm, like, positive they will. And that was really, really, like, I think that was really effective to read a story that could almost act as a standalone. And then, but to use that as the first in a full series that's going to develop into bigger problems and more serious stakes, and, like, but to be able to start it off that it's high personal stakes, like, there's life and death stakes already suggested within it, but we don't max out on those stakes. And so the fact that she was able to do this story the way that she did as the start of a series, I thought that was really well done, and that was, like, a really effective planning and sort of, like, setup for a series, combined with how she used the world building. Again, the plot is sort of a direct consequence of the world that she set the story in. That's what sort of, like, put it up there for me as my other kind of, like, plot specific pick.
Yeah, that story, I think the other part about that you didn't mention, I agree with what you're saying. The part that you didn't mention that I think is very interesting to me is that if you want to hold people for 6 books, what do you have to do more than anything? Make them care.
Yeah.
Book 1 was all about Alex getting to know her wards, getting to know Kyrian, getting to understand what he's up against. So really what it was, it's just to put them in their wounds on center stage, and watching them wrestle with both the environment, each other, and the thing that we don't actually see on the page, but we know is coming, so that we care enough to go to book 2.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part about that book, other than the fact that I just think it's, listen, I think that she made it steamy without being too hot.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't need to do overkill. You totally believed their attraction and their growth. The fact that you're not stuck in that romantic loop to where it's like, okay, we've already talked about this.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like she just balanced all of that well, but mostly it's like a masterclass in like, how do I make you care about these characters enough to move on to the next book?
Yeah, which I think actually makes the sort of like almost contemporary romance setup really, really clever as, again, a hook and an entry for the book, because like that's very much like contemporary romance is very character forward. It's very much about being invested in individuals, and so using that mechanism, so to speak, to invest us in the characters so that we do want to go along for another book and for that many books. I don't know if that was like super intentional of like, oh yes, like she's like pulling out like, I'm going to do a contemporary romance style because that's where we're going to focus on the characters and build it. So. Yeah. But it works really, really well. And so I'm excited too, because we'll get to check out the next book next year.
Well, and I would think maybe not intentional in the way that we're saying right now, but I do think intentional when we think about how we've praised other books for their plot threads. Because if the romance is the ending, the beginning and the end, it would be the beginning, because this is the beginning, right? This is the part, that's the part that rises to the surface. The other parts are kind of what was pulling us forward. What they're willing to do for each other in proximity to their relationship, whether it's the fact that they are feeling each other or the fact that they're in a contractual agreement for her to work for him, that relationship is still what's pulling us forward. And so I think having that be the almost the highlight, even though it's not all the way there because we're still watching them evolve. It's just like all of the open loops that need to be established and opened are there. And you're here for it, and you didn't feel cheated.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like you're like a hard cliffhanger, and because she gave us essentially the one problem that we're solving in this story is about getting Mordecai his medicine, and like resolving sort of her, like when we think about, because it's funny that you mentioned that, because this is exactly what I was like thinking about. Was one of the things that I think this book did really well, again, was gave Lexi a very clear goal. We knew why she was doing what she was doing, which didn't make us feel like she was behaving randomly, but that she was like, she was driven towards something. And so watching her pursue that goal, and then Kieran becoming a factor in that, so that by the end, it's like, okay, Mordecai is safe, right? Like, we've solved this problem, but now I've accepted this job. Like, in order for Mordecai to be safe, I've accepted this job, and that's springboarding us into the next. But it still closes that loop. It's sort of like Mistborn, right? Where we fully close the loop. Obviously, we'll talk about this in January, but we fully close the loop at the end of the book. But what it took to close that loop and the implications of the closure of that loop is what springboards us to the next book, which is what gives you that satisfying ending, while still raising more questions and inviting people to the next book without feeling like, oh, you left me on a cliff, or like it feels like the book is unfinished, or you left me on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it works. It works. I absolutely just love the world building. I thought it was very unique. It's not one of the first books. It was not the first book, but I think it was one of the first books that I read by her, and I really liked it. And I was like, I don't know if it's her writing style or if it's just this book. And so it made me actually read like 2 others, I think, before I was like, nah, it's just something about this book I really like. The other one was good too.
Yeah.
But yes. So yeah. Oh, I think that was a great pick. And so we both, okay. So, I will say this. I think we've had some great ones for plots. I believe just because of the people picking. So it would have been hard either way because we just like what we like. But I think these were great ones to rise to the top, and the kind of stories where you're going to walk away with a lot of lessons in your toolbox from both of these books, and even the ones that we didn't pick. So the honorable mention of Indigo and
Dead Until Dark.
Dead Until Dark. Girl, I was about to say things we didn't get over. I was like, that's not the title. So yes. So yeah, but even with the honorable mentions, so there. I mean, I just great. So I would say with the picks that you selected for your best of, do you foresee like something like equally as comparable, if not better, that you see in our near future?
How do you
for
mean?
some picks, like looking ahead and seeing like some other books that we have coming up that have the potential to sort of knock these two out the water, or
Ooh, okay. It's gonna be hard to knock Ninth House out the water.
I mean, if you're talking like, well, I don't want to give the whole list away. Do I think we have a possibility?
We have. It's funny. We have hinted at a number of people are getting a great sneak preview, which is why they're being rewarded. If they listen to these episodes, they're being rewarded with a sneak preview into 2026, which means, dear listener, you can get a head start on your reading, because usually you only get a month, but you got a little birdie telling you a few of the books that we're going to be doing next year, so maybe ask for them for your preferred holiday gifting, pick them up for yourself, get started reading.
Y'all, she is
She's giving homework over the holidays.
Doing extra, doing all the things.
If anyone is going to do it.
I think for you, I get why you would say that. Here's the thing that I just feel like, especially having these conversations, y'all, I'm really thinking. That's what I'm like. I'm thinking about what we read, what we haven't read yet. This is why, like, reading is such an amazing hobby to have. Because it's like, it's never comparing apples to apples.
Yeah.
But there are some things about stories that just are, you know, for me to have a book that I've literally read for 30 years of my life and I still read it, like, it stands the test of time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes reading such an amazing thing. And then for us to sort of fold in the other genres and moments and different skill sets that we can sort of glean from the other books just makes it so that you just have this wonderful opportunity to sort of absorb and say, like, okay, I know this is what makes me feel good when I read, and this is what I loved about it. Like, how can I create a same or similar, or if not better, feeling with readers in my own way?
Yeah.
And then you get the opportunity to be in the middle of the making of that type of a moment. And it just honestly doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Absolutely.
At all.
You know, just though I am willing to bet that the sequel to Sin and Chocolate is even better. Like, because Sin and Chocolate was getting us established, right? And so I fully expect that the sequel, like, when I'm thinking about, like, knocking books out of the water, I'm willing to bet that Sin and Magic can knock Sin and Chocolate out of the water, because it does have the benefit of already being established, right, in the world. And now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of the plot itself, which, you know, I love me some nitty-gritty. Like, I want action, I want murder, I want,
listen,
like...
Y'all, she's over here messing up our list. Listen. I feel like you're going to think that anyway because it leans more into your back.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I feel like hearing you say that, knowing that you want me to read Hellbent, has me like, So I just feel like I think it's one of those things where when you get to sit and witness an author just doing their thing, and then you go to the next book and you're just like, please, like, it doesn't have to be the same, but you just want to have another very unique experience that just stands on its own.
Yeah.
And because it was so shocking, like, I don't want to be shocked totally, but I do want to be shocked totally.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh my goodness, because that means if she has to shock me again, that makes me so nervous.
I don't think you'll find it as shocking.
Okay,
I don't think.
That's good. Okay. Listen, I don't know for you. I don't trust, because you...
So the reason I don't want to say anything because it would like spoil bright parts of the ending of Ninth House to talk about it, but I don't think that you'll find anything quite as shocking in Hellbent as the types of plot twists and stuff that we got in Ninth House. Okay. I don't think.
Well, don't tell me no more, because I got to see for myself. I said I'm
gonna see for myself.
I'm gonna see for myself. I'm going to be ready too. So yes. So with that said, y'all, this is our best of plot. As you can see, we had a hard time picking, but you don't have to pick. You can just go to all 11 of them. Yeah, you go all 11 of them, pick episode number 2, go plot, all the way through, all the way through the year. And if there is one that we should have had on our list, definitely let us know. Yeah. And know that we are still in the process of picking our books for 2026. So if you have any recommendations, definitely let us know. And with that said, we are out. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to visit us at storydeepdive.com. Anywhere that you're listening, don't forget to rate and leave a comment or a review. We would absolutely appreciate it. And don't forget to tell your reading and writing friends about this podcast. So with that said, we are out. Have a fantastic day. And as always, happy writing.